Welp, welcome to the bomb shelter. I am your host for this episode, Kevin Philby Schumm. And with me, as always, is Jay
Skeeter McDowell.
Yay. Good. I'm glad you came up with something. So,
Well, it was either Skeeter or Mary Lee.
yeah, I'm glad you went with Skeeter. I guess, maybe not.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're going to tonight or today or whenever you're listening to this, tonight for us, we are going to talk about the made-for-TV movie from 1981 called Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Whoa.
Tonight on the CBS Saturday Night Movies, this gentleman saved this little girl's life, but they accused him of harming her.
We'll do this ourselves.
And he was tragically murdered. Now, one by one, the men of this town are dying. Who is his avenger? Is it the dead man's grief-stricken mother?
They killed my boy!
The little girl who loved him?
I know what you did to Baba.
Or could it be the Scarecrow? Dark Night of the Scarecrow, coming up next.
Okay, and we're back. That creepy, creepy trailer. And our third co-host today is my cat, Agatha, who's going to keep walking by.
Once again.
Hopefully. She doesn't make much noise, but she might knock something over.
I think she's good.
Yeah. So Dark Night of the Scarecrow. It is a made-for-TV movie.
It was on CBS? Yeah.
Yes, CBS. Shot in just 17 days, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, considering.
Yes, by a director named Frank D. Filletta?
Something like that, looks like.
And it premiered on October 24th, 1981.
And I remember watching it, and I remember being terrified.
I remember
as I was watching it.
And I don't remember if I saw it on the premiere night, but I remember seeing it probably sometime
I probably saw it when it premiered. Yeah, my mom tended to watch movies.
Oh, that's right.
At night and stuff, so it was probably on, and probably shouldn't have watched it because I was like, I had just turned 10 and was afraid of everything.
Yeah.
So probably not a good movie to watch.
But in your own to argue in favor of you, you may have been afraid of everything, but this movie is actually scary. So
it is. So yeah,
it's not just like, oh, you're scared of everything. This thing's scary.
but it did give me an unhealthy fear of drowning in grain in a silo.
Yeah,
which I don't think is going to happen since I don't think I've ever seen a silo before in real life.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay, so we've got a movie full of people called actors.
There's a large cast in this movie,
but we're going to focus on three as far as who played the part. We've got an actor named Larry Drake,
who is Bubba Ritter,
who plays Bubba Ritter, who is, we'll get to that in a minute, but he's probably the main character, or
kinda, sorta,
the co-main character.
Yeah.
His co-star is Tanya Crow, who played Mary Lee Williams. Mm-hmm. And third is probably, the first or second most recognizable is Charles Durning,
who plays
Otis P. Hazelrig. Yes.
So they had like Esquire or something at the end of it.
So those are kind of the three main people in the movie. There's a lot of different characters, but not a lot that are like I don't think I recognize most of them from anything else.
Well, Charles Durning, he's kind of he's that guy, but he's actually a known that guy. Although I can't off the top of my head think of what he's been known for. But he's been seen in a lot of things. You had to read in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s.
If you're anywhere our age, you immediately you'll see him and say like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, and in fact, he was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He was the governor.
Yeah.
And then Larry Drake, he was in St. Elsewhere, I believe.
That seems right.
Which I never ever saw because I was like didn't care.
Yeah.
And and I think it was in Dr. Giggles.
Okay,
He was Dr. Giggles.
Yeah.
And so he's also that guy. He usually played big, kind of slow people, mentally slow. And I mean, because he was a big guy. But
speaking of slow,
no.
I'm your host. No, he plays once again a slow guy in this movie.
Yeah.
But so yeah, let's quickly go over
kind of just give an overview of the
what
movie
happens in the movie.
Yeah.
And just I don't know if it's. I'm just going to say this as a side note. We have actually reviewed this movie before when we were.
This is not our first recording of this.
And we were not that we're professionals now, but we were extremely not professionals last time.
Yeah.
And what we did is sort of like, I think out of nerves or just excitement because we liked the movie, we kind of went scene by scene by scene by scene.
I think it was our first recording, actually.
Maybe, yeah.
And it ended up not getting used immediately. Yeah. And so I think because when they were released, we were part of another network called sci-fi4me.com. Yeah. And it's kind of a, I don't know what, it's more of an aggregator kind of site now, but we did several episodes of Bomb Shelter on that site, and this originally we had recorded it first. We really didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it was an hour and a half of us going through the entire movie.
Yeah, basically as if we pretty much the movie is around the length of our podcast.
Pretty much.
We could have just watched it and said like, okay, now on the screen, this guy's doing this.
Yeah, we could have just done a running editorial with it.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that this time.
We're not doing that this time. But it was released after a couple more polished episodes. Well, polished for us. And so we've never been really happy with it. And we do plan on actually probably re-reviewing a lot of the movies we did before. But this one was one that really, really stuck with us where we were like, this has to be done a lot better.
Yeah.
Whether or not it will be, we don't know.
We'll find
but
out.
It'll be shorter.
It will be shorter for sure because I'm watching the time.
We guarantee you that.
So Bubba Ritter, played by Larry Drake, is a 36-year-old mentally challenged man. His best friend in the world is an 11-year-old girl named Mary Lee Williams, played by Tanya Crow, as we mentioned before. When Mary Lee is seemingly killed by a neighborhood dog, Bubba is blamed by some of the locals. The locals grab their guns, hunt Bubba down, find him, and he's hiding dressed as a scarecrow in a field. And they intentionally kill him, but they say they unintentionally killed him in the movie.
Well, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
This is just a quick overview. We'll go through a little bit of the scenes in detail. They, intentionally kill him, although they say that it was an accident. Yeah. They soon learn that Bubba did not kill Mary Lee. Like, they immediately find out. Yeah. Like, someone on the radio calls them.
Well, they find out after they've expended their last shell.
Yeah, basically, as the last gun sound is, like, fading, the radio goes, hey, guys.
Hey, guys, guess what? Good news.
Guess what? You just killed an innocent man. But, yeah, they find out that he didn't kill Mary Lee, but, in fact, he probably saved her from being more injured by the dog.
Yeah, being mauled more.
So, during the remainder of the movie, the locals are killed off one by one in various creepy ways.
Yeah.
And we'll get to all this, but who is enacting Bubba's revenge? Is it the law? The law. Is it Mary Lee?
Mary Lee.
Is it Bubba's mother?
Mama.
Or is it Bubba himself?
Bubba.
We don't know.
Not yet. You'll have to listen.
And you may not even know when the movie's over.
You may not care. It'll just be fun.
So should we fill in a few of the other main, not actors, but just characters
in this world? Definitely, because there were, especially the three other people that were offed. Three. They're important because they're all, playing big parts in this movie.
Yeah.
In fact, you see them more than you see Bubba the whole time.
That's true.
So.
Because Bubba dies within the first, 10 minutes?
First 10
minutes?
10 minutes or so, because, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
We've got Harless Hawker, who owns a farm somewhere. He's actually, all these guys are pretty okay guys. They're really easily led by Otis, who for some reason has some kind of a sway over them.
Yeah, and we'll get to that too.
Yeah, we got Harless Hawker. Did we want to go the methods they were offed?
Let's do that afterwards. Let's actually just mention who's in it, and then we'll kind of do the story.
Okay, so he's a farmer.
Yeah, Harless Hawker is a farmer. He's sort of you got Otis P. Hazelrig. He's sort of the leader of this little.
He's a mailman.
He's a mailman. Yeah. He's kind of the leader for whatever reason of these 4 guys, including himself.
Yeah.
We got Harless Hawker, who's a farmer. We got Skeeter Norris,
who's a mechanic.
Who's a mechanic, and you got Philby,
the pig farmer.
Just Philby, who's a pig farmer,
who is Harless's cousin also.
Yeah.
So maybe he's Philby Hawker. Who knows?
So those are sort of the main. And like Jay said, they're not necessarily like bad guys, but in this movie, you would consider them the villains.
They're definitely the villains. They're through circumstance, they, are led by the nose by Otis to exact his revenge.
Yeah.
Then we also have Bubba's mom, Mrs. Ritter.
Yep.
We have Sam Willick, the DA, who is on to them. He figures out that they really did commit this murder, but he kind of can't do anything about it.
It's one of those small towns where, like, everyone,
everyone knows everyone.
And I know the judge. And I think, if I remember correctly, the judge and Otis possibly went to school or something.
Yeah, because the judge is kind of like, well, I don't see any, I don't see any evidence.
That's just them boys being boys.
Exactly. Yeah. And then she really only shows up in one part,
like one scene,
she's like the most important person in the movie.
In the entire movie.
Mrs. Bunch, the boarding house operator,
yep,
played by one Alice Nunn. And if you don't recognize that name, you might recognize this.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
There you go.
Yep, Large Marge.
Large Marge is Mrs. Bunch.
Yep, she is the boarding house owner or the person that runs it, and that is where Otis P. Hazelrig lives.
Yeah, and keeps his meager military collection.
Yeah. So let's just, should we maybe talk about how the different deaths happen, and then maybe after our break get into some of the good or goofy things that we
well, let's we gave an overview. Let's give a few of the key scenes.
Okay.
We've got, of course, early on, we've got Bubba and Marilee playing, and she teaches him songs because he's mentally about.
He's about her age.
He's about 10,
mentally, yeah.
And they have fun, they're just playing together. And they go to, they're walking by, and I'm not going to do the scene by scene thing, but it's important to establish this. They walk by somebody's backyard, and they have a fountain and a bunch of tropical plants, which I don't know how you do that in the South.
Yeah.
But, and there's a fountain, and she says, she loves it. I think she says she wants to go to Hawaii or something like that. It reminds her of her. So she goes in the backyard, and he's like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, she goes back there. They have a Doberman. The Doberman attacks her. And Bubba actually goes in and rescues her. And he takes her back to his mom. Actually goes to her mom first, and he's like, Bubba didn't do it. Bubba didn't do it. And so they get her to the doctor. Well, Otis hears about this and immediately jumps the gun.
Yeah,
literally later, and is like, he murdered her because he'd been kind of picking on Bubba from the get-go.
He's one of those guys who probably
he's just a bully.
He's just a bully.
Yeah.
So the easiest target in town is the mentally challenged guy.
Yeah. And so he sees this as his chance to we'll show everybody, and we'll go get them.
Yeah, he even says I think he even says to his friends or to somebody, "Oh, he finally did it." You know? So he's been seeing Bubba hanging out with a little girl, and for maybe a couple different reasons, really doesn't like that.
It's implied that he would like to be hanging out with Marilee.
Yes, but he's not mentally challenged.
Yeah.
He's maybe
creeper,
basically. Yeah. It's never said out loud. Well,
Mrs. Ritter alludes to it.
Yeah.
At one point when he confronts her, when Otis confronts Mrs. Ritter.
Yeah, he says something like, I see how you look at that little girl.
Yeah, I see how you look at her, and he's like, what do you mean?
Yeah. He basically gets his gang together, and because this is his chance to finally get the guy he wants to bully.
Yeah. And so they, Bubba shows up, and he's, he didn't do it. his mom tells him to go, play basically they had a game.
The hiding game.
And I think they would use this when he got in trouble before.
Yeah.
And he would basically go dress up as a scarecrow and go post himself out in the field and just hide out there. And Otis and the gang show up. They bring hunting dogs with them. The dogs go to the scarecrow, and at first they're like, "Well, there's nothing here. It's just a scarecrow."
Yeah,
and it's probably his clothes, and and then at one point Otis looks up and he sees Bubba's eyes, and they're just terrified, and hears him breathing, and then he steps back and they just unload on him.
Yeah.
And then, like we said earlier, as soon as the last casing falls, you hear, great news, guys, Marilee survived.
She's okay.
Bubba's a hero.
Bubba's a hero. He actually saved her.
Yeah, and they're like, oh. News that would have been helpful 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So they try and set it up to look like Bubba was attacking them with a pitchfork. Which makes absolutely no sense because Bubba's on the post.
Yeah, he's on the post, and there's 4 of them with guns.
I mean, if anything, if you wanted to, you'd take him off the post and make it look like he was running towards you.
Yeah.
Instead of, he was hanging on the post and he was trying to poke us with a pitchfork.
Yeah.
And you were 50 feet away with a gun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, didn't think that one through all the way. So they're exonerated, though.
Yeah, there's sort of that good old boy small town thing going on. And I think it's pretty clear there, even if, we get to see it because we're watching a movie, but I think it's pretty clear that they did it. There's just...
Oh, it's totally. That alone, the fact that he's still hanging up there. Yeah. Even if it wasn't, first degree or anything, it's still
And they shoot him. They didn't. If you're just trying to stop some guy, you shoot him once.
Yeah, you shoot in the air.
He gets shot probably 20 times. I don't remember. I didn't count, but
there's 4 of them, and they empty their guns. And so it wasn't an accident.
No.
And I don't think any of them even were like, I didn't mean to, and somebody goes, oh, shoot, kind of thing. I think they all took aim. And so they're exonerated, and the fun begins.
Yeah. So,
we start off seeing the Scarecrow in different places.
Yeah.
And in Harless's field, in his field, he sees it, and he's like,
"What's that Scarecrow doing over there?"
He's like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you screwing around with me?" And they're all, "We didn't do it. No, we didn't do this." And so he goes about his business, and then the Scarecrow isn't there.
Yeah,
he goes back and looks again later, and it's not there. And so he's working on a wood chipper.
Yeah,
and gets called away, and then later on he hears something going on in his barn where the wood chipper is. So he goes in there and he makes cardinal rule mistake number 1, which is don't go in the hayloft over the wood chipper. Yeah. Because the wood chipper turns on.
In fact, don't even put a wood chipper under a hayloft.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Wood chipper comes on, Harless tumbles back, boom, end of Harless. And then you hear it turn off. Yeah. And I'll give the movie credit.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, when they come and check it, they investigate the other 3, Otis, Philby, and Skeeter. They look and they go, "This isn't it. The engine's not, or the gas isn't empty. The tank isn't empty."
Yeah, because at first they're thinking like, "Oh, he fell in and then just ran out of gas."
Yeah, because it looked like an accident. Yeah, and logically, if he fell in, nobody was there, turned off. It ran all night. It run out of gas. Yeah. But they notice it's still full. Somebody turned this off. Yeah. And at first they're thinking that it might be the DA. Yeah. Trying to they thought the DA was setting up the Scarecrow. Yep. To kind of shake them. And then, they're thinking, well, is it Bubba's mom? Yeah. Is it Marilee? Yeah. And it's like, really? And so they go on. Then we go to Philby and his horrible
death. So Philby is, I think it's at night, and I remember it's very creepy to me still when I watch it. Just this movie is filmed really well, especially considered it's a TV movie. Yeah, and it's very creepy. So I think he's out and he hears some noise.
Yeah, he's like in the office at his pig farm, and he hears the pigs start making noise. So he goes out there, he looks, and then he starts getting panicky.
Yeah.
And he's got a bad ticker.
Yeah.
So he's running, he's taking his pill. He does that thing in the movies where they open the bottle and just, throw the whole thing back.
Yeah, take all of them.
And he gets to his car won't start.
Yeah.
And we never see, we see the lights get turned off.
Yep.
And you hear movement, footsteps, things going on, but you never see who or what it is.
Yeah.
We know who it is,
yeah.
but you never see it. And he seems to, though.
Yeah.
Because he's like looking like, freaking out.
Yeah.
And so then he goes and he locks himself in the grain silo.
So at least I'm safe in here.
Yeah. Cardinal mistake number 2.
Yep.
And of course, the locking mechanism is on the outside.
Yes.
Which you see whoever it is.
Yeah.
Lock. And then it starts filling up.
Yeah.
They turn on the conveyor belt and grain starts pouring in.
Yeah.
And I still have nightmares about this stupid thing.
It's still terrifying. I mean, you know it's coming. You know exactly what's going to happen. It's still scary every time.
Because you wonder, you're like, okay, did he get crushed by it? Did he suffocate? Or did he suffocate because his chest was being compressed?
Yeah,
it's a horrible way to die.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yes.
So we move along.
Yes.
Obviously, Otis is, getting really suspicious now.
Yeah.
And he really thinks it's Mrs. Ritter.
Mrs. Ritter, yeah.
And so he confronts Marilee at a Halloween party.
Yeah.
And this happens, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, this actually, the Halloween party actually happens before Philby.
That's right.
Because they're trying to figure it out. But Otis confronts Marilee, and he's trying to be all nice and everything.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're a creeper. And trying to get her to tell her that Mrs. Ritter is doing it.
Yeah.
To tell him that Mrs. Ritter is behind it. And she basically says, no, it's not. And, you're going to get it because I know what you and your friends did.
Yeah, I know what you did.
And so he tries to chase, and the security guard comes and chases him back and says, you're going to go back to the party.
I have a feeling that in this small town, everyone kind of knows, like, whenever that mailman's around any little kids, just
keep them a little closer.
Keep a little bit of watch on them.
Yeah. So, okay, then Philby, he dies.
Yeah.
And the next day, Otis and Skeeter are like trying to figure this out. Skeeter's ready to turn himself in.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't want to die. I don't know what's doing it to him, but I'm going to turn myself in.
Yeah.
I got a guilty conscience about this. I just want to be done with it. And Otis is like, no.
Yeah.
We can't be doing that. And Skeeter freaks on him. So he
Yeah.
he grabs him and like starts petting him.
I know.
It's like, no, it's okay. It's shh.
Yeah, calm down.
It's all right. So he basically tells him, let's go and open up the casket.
Yeah.
And see if Bubba's in there. They open it up. Bubba's in there.
Yep.
And Skeeter freaks. And Otis goes, okay, cool, whatever. We'll turn ourselves in.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, but we can't leave this open.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So climb on down there and close it. And
go down there and get your shovel and stuff and close it. And then bam.
Yep.
Takes him out. And kudos to the movie.
Yep.
The hat on the shovel cracks me up.
Yeah. It gets stuck to the shovel. So in this movie you've had, a couple deaths, 3 deaths already,
and a couple murders.
Yeah, and two of them are by not even. I mean, this is a horror movie about obviously a scarecrow.
Yeah.
But at this point, the mailman has killed more people than the scarecrow.
No, Scarecrow's taken out 2, and the mailman's taken out 2, so they're even right now.
But when is the Mrs. That might be next.
That was, I think we jumped out of order here.
I think
it was
we did
beforehand.
Too. And that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The mailman, Otis, he suspects, it's Marilee or maybe it's
Mrs. Ritter.
Mrs. Ritter.
Yeah.
So he goes and pays a visit to Mrs. Ritter. And he ends up...
he surprises her.
And that kind of, I think that gets her heart going, but he also covers her mouth, so it's sort of
Well, he gave her a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because he comes up behind her, and he's like, he puts his hand over her mouth, and he's like, shh. And then she seizes up.
Yeah.
And then dies.
Yeah.
And he's like,
oops.
Oh, crap.
Got to cover this one up, too. So this time he can't put a pitchfork in her hand and say that she tried to get him.
Yeah,
so instead
nor just bury her.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead he turns the gas on and
blows her house up.
Blows all to hell. So we got out of order on that one. But yeah, so body count at this point, because that's what I was thinking. It's 3 mailman.
It's 3-2 mailman.
Yeah. Okay, and then the final... not the final, but the next death.
The next death is...
what's his name?
Oh, no. Skeeter's dead.
We already did Skeeter.
We already did Skeeter. It's Otis.
Oh, it is Otis himself.
Time for Otis.
That's right.
Yeah. So Otis winds up getting drunk. He's driving home in his mail truck, which we'll get to that in a little bit too. That's his whole life.
We'll get to that.
And he sees Mary Lee in the middle of the road, and he starts chasing her, and she runs. He runs his truck into a tree or something like that, and so he chases her into the field, and then a thresher machine, I think it was a thresher, comes on, and he starts running, and it takes him. He's running from it, and then he turns around, and boom, there's a pitchfork.
Yeah,
goes right into
he's
him.
Doing the Scooby-Doo thing.
Oh, it was a bulldozer.
It was a bulldozer.
She was hiding in the scoop.
That's right. Yeah, there's a bulldozer chasing him. He does the Scooby-Doo thing where there's like a boulder. Sideways. There's a boulder going after you, and instead of stepping 2 feet to the side, you just keep running straight.
Yep, just keep running straight.
So, but yeah, he does that with the bulldozer. He's running, keeps looking back, and then turns around, and then
right through him.
So he actually,
and it's Bubba with the pitchfork.
So I guess he was right.
Yeah,
Bubba. Yeah,
Bubba did do it.
Bubba with the pitchfork in the field.
Clue 2. So
Electric
Boogaloo. You have to. So he dies, and then the Scarecrow very creepily gives Mary Lee a flower.
Yes.
And she says, "Now we're going to learn a new game, the chasing game."
Yeah.
And then the movie ends.
Yeah. And it's really creepy. When I was a kid, the whole thing was scary, but that last scene especially scared me because
it freezes.
It freezes, but you know that it's at this point at that point you for sure know it's a Scarecrow that actually stuck the mailman.
Yeah.
But it's still done in a way to where maybe it was just a Scarecrow sitting there with a pitchfork and he happened to run into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's not really it doesn't show Otis running, looking over his shoulder, and then he turns and Scarecrow right in your face and 3D pitchfork.
Yeah, it could be that he accidentally ran into something that was just standing still there. So, I mean, it's a scary movie. You have a feeling this whole time, even though you don't see it, that, okay, is it, like I said at the beginning, is it Bubba's ghost? Is it someone wearing a Scarecrow costume trying to get back at them? But, so at the end of the movie, you have your guesses, but you don't know for sure.
It's never explained, if it's a ghost or revenant or just a vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
But he didn't survive.
Yeah.
There's no way
he did die. But it's so creepy at the end because you're finally, I don't know if your complete question is answered. Is it a ghost or whatever? I mean, I guess it's got to be a ghost.
It's Bubba.
But you know it's Bubba because, and at first you see the Scarecrow just still. And I mean, I remember as a kid wondering like, okay, maybe the guy just ran into a pitchfork.
Yeah.
And then the little girl goes, thanks, Bubba, or something like that.
Shows his hand handing her the flower.
No, but he turns his head because she says something to him.
That's right.
And you're thinking like, okay, maybe the little girl's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Scarecrow's head turns and you're like, nope, it's either a ghost or there's someone in a Scarecrow costume.
Yeah.
And then you realize, nope, it's like Bubba's spirit basically.
Yeah.
So, but and then the chasing game. And it's really
scary.
Well
done.
It's really well done. And it still gives me the chills. Even talking about it gives me chills.
Yeah.
And watching it definitely does.
Well, and being a kid, I watched all sorts of movies I shouldn't have, horror movies, because for some reason my mom watched them all the time.
Yeah.
And this is one that just sticks in my memory.
Yep.
And because it was so well done. Some horror movies from when I was a kid, it's because something was... Trilogy of Terror.
Yeah.
What does anybody remember from Trilogy of Terror except the Zuni doll?
The one episode and even just parts of it especially.
Yeah. Yeah. All I remember is her being chased by it.
Yeah.
And that's it. But this, the whole movie really.
Yeah, it's good
really
from
well
start
done.
to finish.
Yeah.
So I think we're running a little bit late for our break, but I wanted to make sure we finished sort of a section of what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which we still talked an awful long time about the movie.
We did. And I think that goes to show how good of a movie it is, because it's hard not to talk about it. But I think what we'll do is we'll take our little break. We'll come back and we'll talk more, not about what the movie is about necessarily, but just our memories of it and parts that scared us and
parts that stuck
funny
out.
pieces maybe. So,
Yeah.
All right. So we will be right back.
Alrighty.
All right, we're back from our little break.
Our little break.
Our little creepy break.
Where I didn't play and mutilate a Ramones song.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back and do that.
It wasn't bad. So, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow.
Okay.
So this is a scary movie, and it still scares me. It scared me even more as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I remember someone at church when I was a little kid telling me, see, this is why I don't think I saw it the first night it was on, because I remember someone at church telling me about it and me thinking like, oh, I really need to see that. So I must not have seen it maybe the next time.
And then you watched it and you're like, this was a really bad idea.
Yeah, I shouldn't have watched that. But really scary, but it's not without
the
funny
few
parts,
funny bits,
and some intentional, and some intentional because that's how it was written, and then some just kind of goofy. But
yeah, the thing first and foremost is Otis is just such a ridiculous bad guy.
Yeah,
that you wonder why and how these people just follow him like he's this super great leader.
Yeah,
and I mean, he's a mailman. There's nothing wrong with being a mailman, but he's like big and doughy and not very smart. I think he just kind of metaphorically throws his weight around.
Yeah,
that everybody else just kind of kowtows to
because
him.
they don't really. They're like, okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do whatever you want.
Because Skeeter's not really that bright.
Yeah,
Harless has got a little bit going on. Philby isn't too dumb.
Bad. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Harless has a farm, which whatever he's doing, he's successful enough.
Yeah.
And Philby has his pig business.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Skeeter, he's a mechanic. I don't know if he owns the shop.
Yeah, I don't think it's completely clear if he does or not. Yeah, but he may.
But he's gainfully employed.
Yeah.
And they all have their own places and stuff. And then he got Otis, who has a room in Mrs. Bunch's boarding home, where he's got, there's one scene where they all go in and he's like, I told you never to come here. Yeah. And they're looking at his little military memorabilia up on the mantle, and he's like, don't touch that. Yeah. And all of his outfits are postal service. I mean, even when he's off duty, when he's chasing around merrily at the party.
That's all he's ever wearing.
Yeah. When he's out a murdering, he's just wearing the postal service. It's kind of like you figure Charlie Brown's closet.
Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of sets of the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what am I going to wear today?
Yeah, I guess I'll wear that.
I'll wear my good Sunday uniform today.
Yeah. But he's got just, for being kind of the leader of this small group of whatevers, he's got kind of a sad life. Now, again, nothing wrong with being a mailman. I think I applied for that job. I didn't get it.
Nor living in a boarding house, really.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's just...
He just thinks a lot more highly of himself.
Than he probably should. Yeah, he lives in a boarding house. He's got his little like museum to himself, basically in his apartment. I mean, but yes, somehow he's sort of the leader of this little gang.
Yeah, They all
but that's kind of funny.
And I think it is the uniform. I think they look to him because he's an official.
Yeah, he works. He works for the government.
Yeah, and so he must be leader in material.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's really just sad.
Yeah. Of course, the Large Marge, just the fact that the person that also played Large Marge is there just makes that great. One really funny part I always think about. Oh, and actually back to the that Otis is sort of just like a loser. I mean, and again, not making fun of his job or necessarily anything, but just he's not as great as he thinks he is.
I think he goes home at night, looks in the mirror, and goes, "This is not where I pictured myself."
Yeah,
at this age.
This wasn't. Plus, on top of that, he's at least creepy, possibly a pedophile. So there's that too. But I always compare him to Fonzie because, like, as a kid, I always thought, okay, Fonzie's really cool and really tough. And then when you get older, you realize, like, oh, wait a minute. He lived above the house.
He lived in an apartment above the
Cunningham's house.
He's studio apartment.
He's not really that cool. Yeah. So anyway, but he's sort of that. He's sort of like, maybe those guys thought of him as like a, like I used to think of Fonzie. And then realized later, like, oh,
it was the jacket.
Yeah, it's just the jacket. Another funny part that I remember is right at the beginning, or not right at the beginning, but right when the incident with the little girl happens, and Otis is just looking for a reason to go after Bubba. He's at the post office. Yeah. When he hears about it, and he opens the drawer, and the only thing in the drawer is a gun. So it's just like he's ready to go. He's ready. His gun. Like,
it's my moment to shine.
It isn't the post office issued firearm. It's just he's got it there just in case he ever needs to shoot somebody that comes up to the window or something. Apparently.
Or he's just been waiting for Bubba to do something.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
now's my time.
Yep.
I've been waiting for this day.
So that was pretty funny. I think the actor does a great job at Bubba. I mean, he's a mentally slow guy, but you feel like, I mean, it's just an actor, but you feel for him, and you're like, man, that poor guy.
You get the feeling that he really wouldn't hurt anybody. Yeah, he wouldn't have hurt Merrily ever.
That really is his friend. He might as well be 10 years old. He's just big. He's just a big 10-year-old, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the other guys, you kind of feel bad for them because they get pulled into this. I think honestly they thought they were going to go out and just scare Bubba. Yeah. And didn't think they were going to murderize him. Yeah. And I think afterward they're all kind of, because they all are really, even though they're off the hook, they still had a guilty conscience about it. And we're just like, especially Skeeter. Skeeter's just going to lose it and just be like, nope, I give up.
Yeah. So there's some funny parts in it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's really. I did find it funny at the Halloween party when, two things having to do with Otis. At the Halloween party, when is it like a security guard or something that kind of catches him? It's just like. You get that feeling that, like, we always watch this guy. He's kind of creepy. We haven't actually caught him in the act yet.
Yeah, we don't have a restraining order against him coming here, but
we've all got our eye on you. And then, of course, when Mrs. Bubba, or Bubba's mom, Mrs. Ritter, kind of implies that the look on Otis's face is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. Because she says he's, trying to get her to fess up, and she's like, I see how you look at that little girl. Yeah. And he just has this look like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because he comes in as the big bully bad guy, and the moment she says that, the tables turn, and he's like, uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh, I got caught.
Busted.
Yeah. So that part's, there's good, it's funny because it was done really well. It's exactly how a guy like that would act. Yeah. A goof guy, a weird guy like that would act.
A bully. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if there's anything else that I really find funny. And Philby's a little bit, they all kind of.
Philby and his pants pulled up to,
his
underarms.
Yeah. So they all kind of, they're all, the acting is good enough.
Well, and they're very much stereotypes.
They're stereotypes, yeah. Philby has a pig farm, and it kind of looks like a big pig guy. Yeah, yeah. And Skeeter,
Skeeter's just nasty.
He's scared of everything. His name's Skeeter.
He looks like he sleeps in the oil pit.
Yeah, yeah. And he just just gets up Otis has all his uniforms lined up in his closet. Skeeter just has the one clothes that he wears, and he never takes it off.
His red and white polka dot hat. Yeah, he's just got a whole hat tree with greasy, nasty red polka dot hats. Yeah, he's like, oh, this is my good Sunday one.
Yeah. So the characters aren't deep.
They're not very dimensional.
Yeah, but it's done well. It's a TV movie.
They're caricatures. But it is done surprisingly well and filmed well. It's creepy watching it.
It is creepy. Yeah. I always think back, of course, that ends part, but I think it's the Philby with the silo. Yeah. That whole scene where he's running around and Philby sees him. Philby sees him, but we don't see him. This is our third host, my
Third
cat,
host is horking up a hairball.
So we'll try to ignore that. Hopefully she'll be okay. But when he's running around and he sees it, and you think later, like, did he knows it's some guy in a Scarecrow costume at least?
There's something, because he turns the lights out. Bubba, for all intents and purposes, turns the lights out, and so you can't really see him, but he knows.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's not someone goofing around.
Yeah,
he's actually scared.
Yeah.
So that part, it's just the way it's filmed is really creepy, and I think when the light goes out, you get like a tenth of a second glimpse of like a silhouette or something.
Yeah,
and it's really creepy.
I'm trying to remember, because I think you do at least see something indicating that he's around.
Yeah,
but you definitely see Philby freaking out because he can't quite figure out who it is or what, but he knows somebody's there.
Yeah,
and even Harless in the barn, you don't see anything, but he's like, where are you? And at that point, nobody has been killed by the Bubba ghost yet, and so he's just like thinking that it's somebody in there messing with him. Yeah, but you don't see anything. Yeah, you just. And really good horror movies do that. Yep. The less you show, the better.
Yeah, you don't show them on, like, in this. You don't want to call him a monster in this because they all kind of deserved it. But you don't see the monster until the end, really.
Yeah, it's like Alien.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see it. And even when you do, you don't. It's so weird that you can't wrap your mind around it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's done really well. I always remember the scene when I think it's Harless sees the Scarecrow in the field. The first time, the after the death and everything. So like the creepy Scarecrow. Yeah, that part always scared me because I'm just like, that would be, you got this guilty kind of secret.
Yeah,
and then
like
you see that
somebody knows,
and somebody knows. That's like no question about that is the same Scarecrow. Somebody knows.
Yeah, because his first response too is to go to the others and go, quit screwing with me.
Yeah, don't mess around.
Yeah. And of all of them, Harless would be the one that I wouldn't want to mess with.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it's done, and then, but not just that, but I mean the way it's filmed. Yeah, it keeps you. There's a lot of dark scenes, but they're really just well done. I just can't say it enough for a TV movie, just how well it was done.
I mean, really, if it wasn't a TV movie, I don't think we'd even have to. I don't think that would drop it at all. We're saying that just to say, like, basically, if this was a regular movie, it would be really, really creepy. It's just extra impressive because it was a TV movie filmed in 17 days. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just incredible. The music is really creepy, too, all throughout. So, I mean, there's just, it's hard to, I mean, we could do our 45 minutes of going scene by scene if we want to talk creepy scenes, because it's just creepy from start to end.
I think one thing that helps too with the movie is when it was released. It was released around Halloween. Yeah. Because a lot of times movies come out now and it's like, this new horror movie, blah, 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 February 14th.
Yeah. Okay.
Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Yay. No, release it around Halloween, when it's spooky. Yeah. And I think that helps because you're watching it, you're already in the mood for it. You're already, and as a kid, you're already hopped up.
You've
been
ready. Thinking about scary things.
Yeah. And, when your imagination already is going crazy on you. Yeah. And so I think it just all really worked and really worked to the movie's favor.
Yep.
So,
by the way, I saw when I was kind of looking up things today and downloading things for this, I saw that, I don't know, I didn't look into it completely yet, but either they did or they still do sell a Bubba mask. Really? And it looked really scary and really authentic. Like, it might be one of those masks that cost hundreds of dollars. Yeah. But if it's not super, super expensive, I might think about getting it. If nothing else, just to scare you at some point.
Yay.
Yeah. Not even
just
about...
Put it outside my window.
Yeah. Hi, Bubba. Shh. Yeah. Oh.
Well, you would have to live with it, though.
That's true. So I'd have to hide it.
It'd backfire.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep it in a box.
I keep it in a box
with
and then
chains.
With chains, and then someday I'm going to go scare Jay. I take the chains off. I open the box and it's not there.
And then you look out the window.
Yeah.
And then the house starts filling up with corn.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not that.
Which how that happened, I don't know.
Yeah. But. It's still scary. So yeah, really, really good movie.
So shall we move on to, well, do we have anything else that we...
I mean, the whole thing is really creepy. I think I've mentioned the parts that especially get to me.
Yeah. The grain silo is always
the grain silo, of course. The part at the end is the scariest part for me, but I already went into that a little earlier.
It's creepy, but to me, it's not as terrifying as suffocating. In grain.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to, you go into your bed and hide, play hide and seek and stuff. And my biggest fear was getting trapped under it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was cleaning out under my bed, and I dug everything out, and then I found that I had actually walled myself in, and it really, really, really freaked me out.
That would get to me too. My bed was this has nothing to do with this movie, but since we're talking about beds, our childhood beds may never come up again. This is my chance. My bed it was a full-size bed. I was lucky to have that. But it had it was an old, I don't know where my parents got it. They didn't buy it new. It was someone gave it to them.
Yeah.
But it had a headboard that had a couple drawers in it and a place where you could put stuff. But if you're under the bed, that allowed for this little space where you could
it's kind of a captain's bed.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
So I could sit up straight. Mm-hmm. I could crawl under my bed, crawl, and then sit up straight in that space. So that was sort of my neat little hiding spot.
Hiding place.
Yeah. Anyway.
I remember, I had a friend who we're talking about beds now.
Yeah.
He had one, and it had the drawers on the front.
Yeah.
At the bottom. And I guess he knew how to pull them out because we were playing hide and seek. And he apparently pulled them out and then would crawl in and then pull the drawers back in. And I could not find him. And then when he finally told me where he was, I'm looking and I'm like, how'd you get in there? And he wouldn't tell me. But he's probably still there.
So the point of this is beds.
Beds.
We all have them.
Dark night of the bed.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So
good, bad, and the ugly.
Good, bad, and ugly. We've sort of done that.
But we can try and do some.
Let's do a quick review of good, bad, ugly.
Yeah.
Good, pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's just really well done.
Music, film-wise, acting, story.
A few little holes. The logic of putting the pitchfork in Bubba's hand while he's still hanging up there, but. For the most part,
they're not geniuses, and they were panicked. So
I guess you can kind of a little slack.
Yeah.
Bad. Skeeter was really, really gross and greasy. Otis was just really, really awful.
Yeah.
But as far as the movie goes, not really anything bad because it was all good.
Yep. Ugly.
It gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
There we go. So there you have it. It's a good movie that has a greasy person and it gives us nightmares.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. That was Dark Night of the Scarecrow. We very highly, if you haven't seen it, we highly, highly, highly recommend you watch it. I believe from time to time it's available streaming on Amazon Prime and Netflix. I know currently it's on, who knows when you're going to listen to this or it's years later, but as we are recording this right now, it's available on Amazon Prime for free. So it's available. In fact, I'm pretty sure on YouTube you can watch the entire movie.
Yeah, you usually find it somewhere.
Yeah.
Not that we recommend doing that.
No, we would never do that.
Totally illegal.
But it's available on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yep.
I have it on Blu-ray. It looks really great.
It looks really good.
Yep. So if you haven't seen it, definitely see it. If you haven't seen it since you were a kid, see it again, and it is just as scary as you thought it was when you were 5.
Not one of those movies that kind of loses it as you get older.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
There we have it.
Dark
Night of the Scarecrow. Done, podcasted in less than an hour and a half or whatever it was. Yay, we did
Dark
it.
Knight version 2. Woo!
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk to you next time.
Holy crap, is that rain?
No, that's the heater.
Oh, the heater.
Yeah.
Okay. We can leave that in. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just always remember, Bubba didn't do it.
Bubba didn't do it.
At the rental place?
What are you doing out there? They called everything off a half hour ago.
What the hell are you talking about?
Hadn't you heard? Little girl's all right. It was all a mistake. Hank Renfro's dog jumped her. They've already released her from the clinic, sent her home. Funny part is, old Bubba saved her life. Ain't that a laugh?